Way open the rubbish, na 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 na, open the rubbish. Okay guys, just tone down the music please. We need to talk. Well done, that second leg in particular. Really good, that's turned around some pretty average form going to that semi-final, let's not lie about it. We've just got one more game in between now and then in this final. We should be beating the Fijian team, okay? So just don't bowl it like I know we sometimes can. There should be no danger of that because we've done the hard work now just making this final. We've got past Auckland City. It's time for a celebration. It's at the GMP. Let's have some fun and let's win our first Champions League. Come on.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 59 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and with Cashmere Technical. And coming up today, going to try and win our first Oceania Champions League here with our club down in Christchurch as we host Navua in the final. If that game doesn't go too long, off the back of that, we should also take on Selwyn United, which might also include a bus trip in the Southern League. So if you're looking forward to us hopefully picking up our first Champions League here at Cashmere Technical, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but we got here a couple of days ago by getting past Auckland City over 2 legs in the semi-final, so if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. To be fair, that really should take us a long way to picking up this trophy this season, because Navua, you'd imagine, not quite as good as someone like Auckland City being 1.5-star reputation and out of Fiji, but to be fair, they did not lose a game in the OFC Champions League so far, got through the group undefeated and have won the first leg of each of the quarterfinal and semi-final before picking up a draw in the second. So they've been pretty good so far, have Navua in the OFC Champions League, but hopefully will prove a bit tougher than the teams they've had to take on so far in this competition, being from New Zealand. To be fair, not too sure about many of their players, seeing as they've only got a key one, and his name is Thomas Dunn, Fijian international, but can't imagine he'll be better than most of our players here at Cashmere Technical. So you'd like to think this is a game that we should be winning and picking up our first Champions League here at Cashmere Tech after losing on penalties to Auckland City last season, especially because our form off the back of that semi-final win over Auckland City has improved in the Southern League, off the back of it looking a bit scratchy around those games against Auckland City. As you can see, quite a few draws around those wins over City, but thankfully we've bounced back in 3 games since then, most importantly a 6-1 win over at that stage top of the table Christchurch United, and that was backed up a few days later by a 3-1 win against the Dunedin City Royals. Yet again, Ingo scores against us just like he did in our first proper game of the season, and also 4-1 over Otago Uni. Nathan Walker there with a hat-trick. He comes into this one in some pretty good form. So what that means for the Southern League title is we might focus on that competition second up. In today's episode, we are back on top and 3 points clear of Nelson Suburbs as they've suffered a defeat to Selwyn United, which is a bit surprising, but maybe we'll see why that might have been the case when we take them on in that second game of today's episode if this final doesn't go to extra time or penalties. But hopefully this is our chance here to win a Champions League, albeit unfortunately over the course of those last couple of games, yet again, we have picked up a few injuries. Callan Elliott is still out with that hip injury, which he copped halfway through that last episode, but also we've lost our first choice goalkeeper for the final. Yet again, I'm hoping this time it won't be as costly, but Josh Hawkins, torn wrist ligaments, he is out for 2 to 5 weeks, so unfortunately missing our first choice goalkeeper. That means that Mark Anderson makes his first start since that grand final last season of the same competition, where it's fair to say he had a little bit of a stinker. Gil Paquette also been dealing with a bit of an injury recently, a type 5, but thankfully he is available for this final, so we're not too bad off. But one first team player not available, and it is our goalkeeper, just like last year's final. And also this could be the last episode you see some of our big guns here at Cashmere Technical before maybe we consider selling them to proper professional clubs, seeing as these days we are semi-pro, in particular the All Whites like Justin Keat, still wanted by the Houston Dynamo these days, in the MLS, and also Adam White, still wanted by a few MLS clubs in these days, a couple in Saudi Arabia and Qatar as well. So maybe off the back of this episode, before we do head in to the World Cup, some good bids come in for our higher rated players who are New Zealanders, so we don't need to worry about them becoming New Zealand in the future for All White selection if they're already there. We can look to let them go and rejink our squad before we head in to that championship phase of the National League. But before then, we do have a World Cup, which will be coming up at the start of next week. But just that one main concern going into today's episode in terms of injuries, Mark Anderson, he will be starting. Can see there a couple of players who wouldn't usually be in the squad because some others are on a heavy workload, hopefully against a team like Navua. That is something that we can get away with, but hopefully this is our time here at the GMP to pick up the first Champions League trophy of the save as we take on Navua in the OFC Champions League final. And here are the team sheets for the 2030 OFC Champions League final. A couple of changes for us, as I said before. Anderson in goal with that injury to Hawkins. Also Barisic at left back with White on a heavy workload. In the same place for Janssen. So Justin Keat as the cam and informed Nathan Walker. He can start out right Navua going with a 4-4-2, but big chance for us here to be the champions of Oceania. And near enough to the 5-minute mark, we get the first highlight here of this final. It's a goal kick there to Navua, and a bit of poor control there on the left-hand side does mean that we take the ball back there and now play it back to McGoldrick. Also wanted by clubs in the A-League, but hopefully that won't be too lucrative as he is still on the path to becoming a New Zealander. This is definitely someone we're not looking to sell, but Leon Reek now on the ball down the right-hand side. Squares that one nicely for Stephen Lopez, and that is a really good first-time finish into the bottom left corner. That's the start we want, up 1-0 after only 5 minutes, and hopefully we can put this one to bed nice and early, because this definitely is a team that we should be beating based on reputation. You'd like to think we got the hard part out of the way in that last episode over 2 legs against Auckland City, but that is a good start. Louis Enrique will pick up the assist, and Stephen Lopez puts that one home, albeit shortly off the back of that, there is a highlight from the restart. Navua will be looking here to strike back immediately. They play a ball over the top. They actually do quite well to keep hold of it down their right-hand side. But as I say that, we nearly win the ball back, albeit don't quite do it yet. Now they play another long ball over the top, and thankfully Barisic will recover that well for us. And now we try and get something going here down our left-hand side. Justin Keat moving to the cam today, plays it out to an informed Nathan Walker on that right-hand side. Somewhat loose touch there, but rather fortunately does keep hold of the ball. We float that one far post. Leon Reek will pick up another assist as Ahmed Shusha will head that one home top left corner. It's a very good start to this OFC Champions League final as we make it 2-0 early at the GMP. As I said before, Walker actually quite fortunate to get that ball back, but Leon Reek with a couple of quick fire assists this time. Shusha with the goal as we go 2-0 up early. And just short of the 15-minute mark, we get another highlight here as Navua were looking to clear their lines, but yet again, we go back on the attack. Nathan Walker just inside the box, looks to play that back for someone who I think he was hoping would be running onto that one. Not the case, but then Navua get a bit muddled up there as they try and make their way out from that. We float a ball into the mixer. That again might have been Louis Enrique. This time Lopez gets pushed in the back. It's a penalty, and this will be a chance for Nathan Walker to tuck this away from the spot he's usually very good. That time it gets saved, or it comes off the post. Can't actually tell too much, but unfortunately that one not quite on target, but hopefully won't prove too costly as we miss a chance to make it 3-0. But a few minutes later on the attack, yet again Justin Keat there with what looked like a deflected shot, forces a decent save there out of the Navua goalkeeper, but better say early stages all over our Fijian opposition in this final, as you would expect. Unfortunately, the corner doesn't look like it's up to too much, albeit Duty Radom to McGoldrick from outside the box. That shot again takes the deflection, but the Navua goalkeeper with a decent save. So we continue to pile the pressure on here early. Barisic will take this corner, looking for Victoros at the far post, but unfortunately that one goes just over the bar as we dish out some praise. But the highlights don't stop, as now we have the goal kick. Tsukamoto wins that one in midfield. Now we play up to Justin Keat, who sprays it out right a little bit behind Walker, but thankfully he can keep hold of possession for us. Plays it in for Louis Enrique. Duty Radom with a header this time. It goes over the bar, and we're still 2-0 in front. And just past the half-hour mark, might be the first chance here we get to see Navua on the attack in this game. Is to go a free kick just inside of their own half at the moment. Some short passing, but that is poor players. Victoros can win that in there, and straight away we get on the counter-attack. Walker makes his way down that right-hand side, squares it nicely for Justin Keat. That a big chance for an all-white, but unfortunately that one just misses the target, and also he picks up a yellow card. Still 2-0, and a highlight starts off the back of that, still on the attack. So it's fair to say this first half has been pretty much one-way traffic. Hopefully can grab a third goal soon. Hopefully put this one to bed and make up for that penalty, which we couldn't quite put away through Walker this time. He gets played in behind. Big chance for him there, but good save from the Navua goalkeeper, who, to be fair now, must be on a pretty good rating. But a chance for us here from set piece. Can we do something a bit better than what we've done so far? Not quite yet, but now look for Victoros at the far post. That was a better chance, but unfortunately that one comes off the woodwork as we get late now into this first half, but still at 2-0 in front. We'll just make sure that Justin Keat eases off tackles, and now we do have a throw in here. Hopefully a late chance for us to make this 3-0. Sukamoto looking for Shusha at the far post, but too much on that one, and then a poor pass, and a chance here for Navua on the counter-attack. Lau makes his way forward, passes that one out to Tanuku on a yellow card. They play it back, try and loop that over the top, but McGoldrick there with a good header. And now we are on the counter-attack. Shusha cuts in from that left-hand side, one of the goal scorers over there to Nathan Walker. Squares that one for Justin Keat. Will beat the Alidua at his near post. He got a bit of a touch on that one. Did the Navua goalkeeper, but eventually he lets one go past him off the back of that hot start that we did have, and Justin Keat will pick up a goal in the OFC Champions League final. Could be the last one he scores for us here at Cashmere Tech if we get some money for him off the back of this tournament, but that makes it 3-0, and that should be the scoreline going in to half-time. As you can tell by the stats, it's been complete one-way traffic, and to be fair, most players out there on a good rating. A couple of players, though, have picked up yellow cards, and I think in a situation like this, we can afford to play things safe. So we're going to make some subs here for those players who are on yellow cards. We'll bring on here Courtney Perkins for Ollie McGoldrick, as he's a bit better suited to that left-hand side. And I think even though he's on a heavy workload and a bit injury-prone, Lorenzo Johnson, he can come on for Justin Keat, but very happy with how that first half went. Should now really have that Champions Trophy locked up as we're 3-0 in front at half-time. And an early highlight here in the second half, yet again, looks like here we might be on the front foot as it's a goal kick to Navua, and they take it poorly as well. Big chance here for Walker. He's almost one-on-one, but unfortunately that shot goes straight into the path of Ladua. Big chance there for us to make the most of a poor goal kick, but unfortunately can't quite do so. But hopefully that's a sign that this momentum will continue in the second half. Courtney Perkins, his header goes over the bar. Still 3-0 Cashmere. And about 10 minutes off the back of that previous highlight, we get another one here, and Navua actually might get a chance to do something on the counter-attack. But as I say that, really poor pass backwards, and Walker again can make an interception, plays it infield for Louis Enrique, looking for a goal to go alongside his couple of assists early in this game. But again, the Navua goalkeeper comes up with a pretty good save. He'll be in for a very good rating, you'd imagine, off the back of his performance so far. The match momentum, complete one-way traffic. Courtney Perkins again gets his head on the end of the corner, but it just goes high and wide. Still 3-0 at the hour mark. And just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game, and yet again on the attacking, yet again it is through Nathan Walker, who is so far doing a pretty good job in this game without having picked up a goal. Good chance there for us, but unfortunately that one does just go wide, it looked like, and now a corner which does get saved. So we might have a chance here from set piece. Barisic will take it, as now we maybe look to make some subs soon with about 15 minutes left in the not too distant future. Courtney Perkins, another header from a corner, and that time Ladua actually gets a touch on that to put it onto the crossbar and go out for yet another set piece. Walker going far post, but Ladua, he can claim that one, and that should deal with that danger. Still 3-0 here, and with 20 minutes to go, I think it's time for us to make our last couple of subs. We'll take off Enrique having a blinder, but Julian Pike can come on for him. Also, we might take off Ahmed Shusha for Gilbert. And at the moment, can't see any other players who are struggling out there, so we'll just make those two subs with about 20 minutes left and still a 3-0 lead. And short of the fact of those substitutions, we are on the attack again, albeit as I say that, this time a chance for Navua on the counter-attack, but Julian Pike fresh on the field. Some good defensive work there. We play the ball up to Johnson, and now Gilbert down that left-hand side in there for Duty Radon finds Pike in a decent chunk of space. A nice finish there across the face, a goal. It beats the doer. That makes it 4-0. That should be enough of a cushion now to make sure that we are going to pick up this Champions League, albeit the way that they've been going the opposition in Navua. I think that's been the case now for quite a while. They've done next to nothing in terms of attack in this game, but Julian Pike there, good finish, just sneaks that one past Ledoux, which to be fair has been a bit tough in this one. 4-0 up with only 15 minutes left. And just making way into the last 5 minutes of this game, a couple of our midfielders have now gone down. 2 red hearts will make our final sub. We'll take off Duty Radom for Lepane in this situation, just to make sure that we don't get any injuries late in this game. In fact, I've taken off the wrong player there, Walker instead of Duty Radom, but nonetheless we've made our way through injury time. That final was pretty straightforward. As I said, I think the semi-final a couple of days ago against Auckland might have been a bit more nail-biting, but even then made our way past those guys fairly comfortably, seeing as that was over 2 legs, and we avenge our defeat in the final against Auckland City last season on penalties, this time a lot more comfortable in front of our home fans at the GMP, and we are lifting the OFC Champions League for the first time here at Cashmere Technical off the back of a 4-0 win over Navua. So it's taken a couple of seasons, but we have finally picked up the OFC Champions League here at Cashmere Technical at the second time of asking, as I said, after being done on penalties by Auckland City last season. Thankfully this time, Mark Anderson pretty much had nothing to do, so we didn't have to worry about that too much with him coming in for the injured Josh Hawkins. But as you can see, really dominant display, and thankfully we pick up a 4-0 win. Money-wise, not that great. The Chatham Cup actually a lot more lucrative than the OFC Champions League, which does seem a little bit off, but the board are very happy with us. They did expect us to win the OFC Champions League. Thankfully, that was the case, really. I'm pretty sure Auckland City, or in the future, the other New Zealand team, will be our only real threat in this competition. So as long as we can get past them, that should mean that we lift the OFC Champions League. But Cashmere Technical, for the first time, are the champions. There on Reek with those 2 assists in the first half. He picked up player of the match for us here at Cashmere Tech, and we pick up our first OFC Champions League. And we are back a few days off the back of celebrating that OFC Champions League win for the first time here at Cashmere Technical. And before we get stuck into this game against Selwyn United, which actually is away from home in the Southern League, haven't been to Foster Park yet in Rolleston, so we will do a bus trip shortly. But before then, have actually selected an extended squad for the FIFA World Cup. For some reason, custom wing play coming up instead of the Gegenpress. But here you can see the squad depth that we do have going in to this upcoming World Cup in terms of our 4-2-3-1 once it does load. I've pretty much picked 5 players in each position for now, seeing as we've got 55 in the extended squad, but we'll cut this down before we come back for the start of next week. We can sort of see the players who are likely to be on the plane to Turkey based on the squad depth here on the screen. You can see that these days Martin Damon is our first choice right back. In terms of centre-back, still the likes of Tyler Bindon, Kelly Heald, Curtis and Billingsley. Our first choice, Victoros, is in the squad, but probably not quite good enough, honestly, compared to our other centre-back options. At left-back, Ivan Bango still actually hasn't his paperwork come through for the All Whites, but to be fair, Kakache and Adam White do a decent job there. In midfield, it is actually these days Louis Evans' first choice defensive midfielder, ball-winning one over Joe Bale. And in terms of deep-line playmaker, Michael Cornelius Beale, also a bit better than Marco Stumnick, so it's going to be a bit different looking to what I was expecting for this upcoming World Cup, where of course we've got Spain, Chile and Senegal in our group. I'm pretty sure those were the 3 teams we did get at the start of the week. Justin Keat, first choice right winger, and to be fair, Ben Old, Justin behind him, but we'll see if we take an extra attacker in someone like a Ben Wayne or a Sarpreet Singh, who is a bit more versatile, albeit these days Sarpreet Singh only the 4th choice central attacking midfielder. Both Jamie Kelly and Jay Herman, as well as Reece Maguire, are above him. So definitely a bit of a changing of the guard here in this save at the moment, as some new players do come through. Left wing, Josh Pickering and Sloan Rodriguez, also Hall Jones, a pretty good option with his potential Callum McCowart these days down the pecking order. A little bit in up front, we've got George McDonald, who's an absolute stud for us, our best player, and Oatu Ualase is quite promising as well out of the Wellington Phoenix. That's what things look like in terms of the upcoming World Cup with our extended squad here with the All Whites. But next up, we take on Selwyn United in the National League, the Southern League. These guys in fourth off the back of that win they picked up over Nelson Suburbs since that last episode. And off the back of that, they have got on a nice run as well with wins over Otago Uni, the Dunedin City Royals, and Roslyn Waikerie. So to be fair, they come into this one in some pretty good form. But even though it's away from home, this should be one that we're winning, being the champions of Oceania and all. But before we come back for the second game of today's episode, as I said, first time we've gone to Foster Park in Rolleston, so it's time for a bus trip across Christchurch. So it's one of our crosstown rivals for this bus trip in today's episode, so it does mean no hotel near, just need to get straight into the action of hopping in the minivan and making our way out to Rolleston. But it is a fair journey. We're going to start off here at the club rooms at the Garrick Memorial Park. Got to go through central Christchurch, kind of out the other side through the likes of Hornby, and then we get into proper farming country before we actually get to Rolleston. I know this quite well because I used to be down there at Lincoln University back when I was studying and whatnot. That didn't prove too useful, but still wasn't too far away. The closest takeaways for things like McDonald's and pizza and KFC and all that, so I'm quite familiar with the area of Rolleston. At least it was back then. We'll see if it's changed, but this one's going to be a bit of a speed up bus trip. We'll stop by if anything interesting does pop up. It's a 27-minute journey, about 30 kilometres, so we might have to skip over some suburban stuff for this one, but we'll see what interesting things pop up as we make our way from the GMP out to Rolleston. And the first thing we have a look at here on this bus trip out to Rolleston, we're making our way through near the suburb of Angton, made our way through Sydenham, and to be fair, there wasn't too much to hear, but now we're on the State Highway and over on the right hand side, that is the General Addington Sporting Area. You've got the racetrack over there on the right hand side, New Zealand Cup Day, that gets quite packed out. Next to it, got the big stadium when music concerts and also some other things do take place, but over the back there a bit further is where the rugby ground is, where teams like the Crusaders and also occasionally the Warriors, they play games down there in Christchurch. They're getting a new stadium built in town itself. We've gone around that a little bit here on the highway, but that is actually where most of the sports games do take place in Christchurch, that stadium, which you can kind of see in there. It's not the best one. It was a bit of a temporary one set up after the earthquakes, but unfortunately it's taken them a while to set up a new stadium down there in Christchurch. Getting onto it, but there is the first kind of interesting thing we look at on this trip. Lots of sporting stuff there in the Addington area. And after quite a while on the motorway, we eventually make our way in the sort of area of Whedon's now in Christchurch. It's definitely a quite rural area. Lots of horses and things do get trained around here, but we make our way on this very horseshoey left-hand turn, and hopefully now can start to get a bit more countryside-ish instead of the motorway, which is really all we've seen so far on this bus trip. So hopefully soon we actually get a bit of stuff to show you guys as we make our way a bit closer to Rolleston and Foster Park. And this is what we're talking about by country. It's a nice rural Canterbury road trip, this one. We're on Levi Road. Look at that magnificent hedgeage on the right hand side. Very well maintained, I'll say, for something that big, but there you can see we're in proper country Canterbury now. And after making our way through the small township of Rolleston itself, now we're actually close to the ground where we were playing this game. In today's episode on the right hand side soon, you will see Foster Park. But before then, we're going to come up shortly on the Selwyn Aquatic Centre, so I actually want to see what this looks like. So I didn't actually expect an aquatic centre out there in Selwyn. I thought the main one was at QE2, but to be fair, that was back when I was at uni, and that kind of got ruined a little bit by the earthquakes back then. But I think here on the right hand side very shortly, there's supposed to be an aquatic centre. It must be over there, because honestly can't see it too well, but I imagine this might be Foster Park on the right hand side. We'll just see where the parking does take us shortly as I follow my map here, which is probably behind my head for you guys trying to keep tracking. In fact, it's not, it's actually a bit further down the road, so that's definitely not Foster Park. We keep going and shortly we take a right hand turn, and we start to look a little bit fancier now, because this time actually on the right hand side I do think that's the aquatic centre. That looks a bit more like it. That looks a bit fancier and a bit more swimmingy than what I saw before, because otherwise we've just been outdoor swimming in the mud, which to be fair, some country kids are quite big fans of here in New Zealand. But we'll make our way past that. Coming up pretty shortly, there will be the entrance to Foster Park. Just got to make our way down this road, which to be fair, looks a little bit average from that first picture, but now it looks a bit better. Does Gould Road, and I believe here on the left-hand side, indeed it is, that is Foster Park. That's where we're playing this game in today's episode against Selwyn United off the back of a half-hour bus trip. We'll just see if we actually get a look at the ground itself and if I can actually get some decent parking here, because the ground is on the left-hand side, but at the moment can't see any good spaces to park or to even really access the ground. We'll just see what's coming up. I think there could be an entrance. It's just not a very good one. I'm not too sure if I can park there, so we'll see. You can go in there. We can't, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in there is where we're playing Selwyn United in the Southern League clash. We'll keep going down a bit further and just seeing if I can actually find an entrance, but honestly, it's not looking too great, albeit the cones do stop up here soon. Hopefully, there might be a driveway. I don't think there is, so I think you're going to have to park here on the side of the road, maybe in this coned off area, do a bit of a walk back up to the footy grounds, but I'll see if I can find a bit of a better picture of the ground itself. And we've got a couple of pictures here to look at thanks to Google. Unfortunately, it's not quite street view, but still not the worst facility. Looks like they've got some AstroTurf in behind the big building, and also some proper turf facilities there for the football games as well. Is a bit of a small soccer ground there, and that might be for hockey. So to be fair, that Selwyn Rolleston area quite well looked after with those grounds there at Foster Park. There's a few more pictures so you can see what it does look like. That might be the main ground, might even be AstroTurf where we're playing this game in today's episode, but there is Foster Park, and hopefully we can pick up a win and stay on top of the Southern League. And here are the team sheets for the Southern League clash. First up, it is the home team in Selwyn United. As you saw before, came into this one in some pretty good form. It's another team playing with a fairly defensive formation. In terms of us, just a bit of rotation for some players on a heavy workload. So Kerwin at right centre back, Shusha as the cam, and also De Hopman de Villiers at left wing, of course, as well as Anderson in goal. But hopefully 3 points here to stay on top of that Southern League. It hasn't taken long here at all for the first highlight of this game, only 2 minutes in, and thankfully we are on the attack. Hopefully continue that form from that OFC Champions League final. Shusha tries to square that one for Tsukamoto. Didn't actually look like he was going to win the race to that ball, but he did, and forces a good save there out of the Selwyn goalkeeper. So an early chance for us there, but unfortunately, decent save from the Taco in goal. Now a chance here for Tsukamoto yet again, but unfortunately just can't quite get off a shot here. We'll see if this highlight will continue. Louis Enrique plays it back to Tsukamoto just on the edge of the box here. We do try and keep hold of the ball, play it back to Adam White, 1-2 between him and De Hopman de Villiers, and that highlights over. Unfortunately, Tsukamoto can't quite put that big chance away, and it remains 0-0. And we get all the way forward to the 20-minute mark for the next highlight of this game. A free kick yet against Tsukamoto. That time kind of beat the goalkeeper, but unfortunately couldn't quite beat the post, and they clear it away there. Do Selwyn. It feels like we're on the front foot, but still 0-0. And just over 10 minutes on from that previous highlight, now it's Selwyn United here who might actually get a chance to open the scoring in this game as they try and make their way out from that back, which is pretty well stacked in terms of numbers. Kind of try and park the bus like Fury Mead Bays did against us at the start of this week. They try and play a ball there over the top, but thankfully McGoldrick can win that one there, and it might be a chance for us here to do something on the counter-attack. Some good short passing from us here, and Shusha, he gets in behind, will beat Taco in goal, and that was an interesting goal. Quite a good one, but certainly some interesting stuff happening here. Felt like we were going a bit sideways and a bit backwards at times, but in the end, that's actually a pretty good goal. It was scored Justin Keat with a pass over there to De Hopman de Villiers. Heads it down for Duty Radom, and Shusha kind of gets in behind Taco in goal. Not a good effort from him for Selwyn. It's a nice goal as we take a 1-0 lead with 10 minutes left in the first half. And not too long back of that opening goal, hopefully now we can try and put the foot down like we did against Fury Mead Bays earlier this week, who had a similar formation. And once we scored that opening goal, did feel like the floodgates opened up a little bit. I think that was the Justin Keat with a shot from just outside the box, but unfortunately that one comes off of Wilbur. So definitely staying now with a bit more momentum now that we've opened the scoring, but unfortunately it does look like that will be it for the first half. Just 1-0 in front. Definitely the team on the front foot. Selwyn have had some chances, unlike our previous opposition in that OFC Champions League final, but thankfully we've still found a goal through Shusha. That one quite well worked, and we're going to go into the second half with a 1-0 lead. Everyone out there doing a decent job, so no subs needed, and hopefully we can kick away a bit more in the second half. And just showing the hour mark, we eventually get the first highlight here of the second half. Still definitely a team on the front foot so far. I think all the shots in the second half, they have come from us, but unfortunately nothing too noteworthy of years. Shusha was making his way forward there looking for a double. Selwyn clear the lines, but thankfully we are back on the attack. And Ahmed Shusha is in behind there from that ball from de Villiers and was onside, so he'll pick up a double and make it 2-0. And now that's a buffer goal, which thankfully we get because it feels like it's been coming for a little while now, even though there haven't been too many highlights off the back of that opening goal. But Shusha gets in behind there in a long-range effort that beats Tako in goal for Selwyn United. That makes it 2-0 with around about a half hour left. And short off the back of that goal now, a couple of players are going down. 2 red hearts. We've got Duty Ray Dom there in the midfield and also Justin Keat. To be fair, our only right-wing option on the bench is El Ghazali, so we'll see what he can do there. And also, Teo Atema as a deep-line playmaker for these last 25 minutes, still with a 2-0 lead. And only a few minutes on from those previous subs, now it's time for our last one here on the free subs in the Southern League. Louis Enrique down to red heart. Barisic can get some game time at right back. And a bit of action starting to happen now with 20 minutes left. There is a corner here in our favour. Trying to pick out someone there at the near post, but unfortunately can't quite do so. But thankfully, we do keep hold of position. Some good short passing here inside the box. Adam White back to Barisic. Will get it back. Cuts inside, takes on a shot, and that actually goes just over the bar. Thought that Tako Birema might be forced into a save, but unfortunately that wasn't quite the case. And now we go down the other end here, and Selwyn United, they will try and launch an attack. Nice ball over the top there, but thankfully we can head that one away. And Shusha on a hat-trick, tried to play that one forward to someone down our left-hand side, but unfortunately didn't quite connect, and Selwyn United might get a chance. Barisic heads it away, but not too well. And Zadro can get in behind, squares it for Angelo Sierra, who will pick up his second goal of the season. And that makes it 2-1, kind of like what happened in that Fury Mead Bays game as well. Hopefully from here we can kick away just a little bit more, but unfortunately couldn't quite deal with that danger. Barisic with an average header there away, straight back to a Selwyn United player. And that makes it 2-1 with only 15 minutes left. And in fact, right off the back of that, it is a throw in here for Selwyn, who might be looking for a way back into this game now with a little bit of momentum maybe from that previous goal. And now play it through their midfielders. Wilson out to someone there, Nosta down their right-hand side. He's trying to cut some field a bit, but then a poor pass, and Barisic plays that one to El Ghazali at right wing today. Let's see what he can do in that position. Gets in behind, tight angle, squares that one back for Tsukamoto, but unfortunately that shot will come off the Wilwick. So we're trying to put this one to bed, but these days only 2-1 in front. And after a brief break there so I could freshen up my throat with a bit of water, now there's another highlight starting. It's a goal kick here to Selwyn United. Still lots of action happening here as we're about to enter the last 10 minutes of this game, and Selwyn are on the ball. Thankfully a tackle there down our right hand side did not connect because it looked like that one might be a bit nasty, but thankfully Adam White with a good interception down our left. He plays it forward to de Villiers, who set up that second goal today for Ahmed Shusha. Now Atamas plays that one in for Aiki Tsukamoto. We had a couple of good chances in the first half, but this time puts it away past the Tako in goal for Selwyn, and that makes it 3-1, and hopefully that's the goal to make sure that with only 10 minutes left, we'll pick up 3 points from this game and stay on top of the Southern League. De Villiers off the back of the interception from Adam White, and Tsukamoto there with a finish into the ground on the volley, and thankfully just did enough there to beat the Selwyn goalkeeper. That makes it 3-1. And now, as we enter the last 10 minutes, there is another highlight here as they pump it deep. Kerwin plays it forward to Tsukamoto, then gets it back. Atema just manages to keep hold of that ball. And now de Villiers gets in behind Shusha, returns the favour from earlier, and that will make it 4-1. And that should now wrap this one up in pretty similar fashion to against Fury Mead Bays earlier this week. This game gone very, very similarly against the team with pretty much the exact same formation, but de Villiers there from a tight angle can put that one away. Not too sure about the goalkeeping but there, considering he dove to his right and the ball made its way just inside of the left-hand post, but that makes it 4-1 with only 5 minutes left, and maybe we can put the foot down here just a little bit more and put a bit of a hurting here on Selwyn in front of their home fans, bring their good run of form here to an end. But now it is Sierra who gets in behind. Bit of a loose touch there and a tackle from one of our players, but it falls to Stanley Wilson, and maybe not so fast because Selwyn, they will pull another goal back here to make it 4-2. So lots of goals happening in the late stages of this game. Before we broke it up here, as Sarah runs into the back, I think it is of Kerwin, but Wilson, right place, right time to put that one into the bottom right corner. We'll praise the guys just to make sure they're still happy as we hold a 2-goal lead as we make our way into 4 minutes of added time. One more highlight here as we do have a throw-in. Unfortunately though, try and play that one forward, and Selwyn might get a chance here to make things a bit interesting late on. They get it out to Zedro down the left-hand side, and now there's Jurkovic who cuts inside for Sarah. Nice ball forward there, and they are going to get him behind, and that's a really good finish from Yusuf Simpara over Mark Anderson, who, to be fair today, not going too well. Off the back of that, we might just start to time waste a little bit just to make sure we don't bowl this, because this has been turned around a bit late here by Selwyn United with a few late goals. That one, a really good finish from Simpara. Anderson wasn't that far off his line, but to be fair, really good finish as he has too much pace there for our defence. But thankfully, just making sure that we were time wasting off the back of that does mean that we hold on for a 4-3 win, which, to be fair, against the team in quite good form like Selwyn, isn't a bad result. But still, feel like as the champions of Oceania, that one could have gone a lot better. But thankfully, we picked up a few goals there in the second half after only picking up the one in the first half. Shusha with a double, and also goals to Sukamoto and to the Hotman de Villiers. Selwyn got some good goals there late, but thankfully we just do enough to hold on and pick up a 4-3 win, which will see us stay on top of the Southern League. So a bit of a close run thing there in that second game of today's episode against Selwyn United. We pick up a 4-3 win. They grabbed some goals back late, but still a little bit unconvincing from us there. Maybe we try a different tactic once we do come back from the FIFA World Cup with these guys. So it does feel like at times we have been playing a bit poorly in the Southern League this season. It could just be because it's in and around our Champions League games, especially that run we had in and around those games against Auckland City earlier this week. But still, with the supposed superior quality of players we have here at Cashmere Technical, especially in a league like the Southern League, you'd like to think we'd be beating teams a bit more regularly than what we've been doing so far this season, and a bit more comfortably than what we just did there against Selwyn United. We've got one more game before we do head off to the World Cup with these guys, and that's the first round of the Chatham Cup against Green Island, who are a team who are down below the Southern League here in the South Island. So that's one we definitely should be winning. I'll play that off camera, and we'll come back at the start of next week for the FIFA World Cup with the All Whites. But that will do it for today's episode. 2 good wins, most importantly, that one in the Champions League final as we pick that up for the first time here at Cashmere Technical. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. As I said, we'll come back at the start of next week. We'll switch our attention to the All Whites because it will be time for the 2030 FIFA World Cup. You can see there, we're going to play Ecuador, Nigeria, and France in some pre-tournament friendlies, but then we've got Spain, Chile, and Senegal in the group stages. Hopefully we can do enough to make sure we make the second round yet again. So until that, at the start of next week, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.